Okay guys, it finally happened. I've been waiting to show you guys this fish. My second fluke over 7 pounds from shore and caught on a jerkbait. As you know, this has sort of been a long time coming. I've been steadily refining this jerkbait fluke game since last year, experimenting with different baits, different mods to fit this freshwater bass technique into my fluking repertoire. I get into it more in another video, the setup, the baits, why I choose the baits I do, but for now, let me just say that under the right conditions, a jerkbait, a hard jerkbait, will get bigger bites than a jig and gulp combo on average when the fish are in a negative mood. So earlier this day, I had a few taps on my usual quarter-ounce jig head and 6-inch jerk shad. Landed a couple of shorts. I think I landed one keeper, but it didn't really turn on until I tied on this jerkbait. So the jerkbait I'm using that day is the Zip Baits Shad Kara 80 SP. I'll leave a link to all my gear and tackle down below, as well as my contact info for private lessons. This year I'm offering a combo lesson, mainly single jigging with gulp, but for people interested, I'll devote an hour or so to jerkbaits as well. You might not be able to tell from this angle, but I am barely hitting this bait with the rod tip. Very light taps in between pauses and always off slack line. The occasional short pull here and there. This shad Kara is extremely responsive, has a great weight transfer system that's anchored in place by a magnet. So no rattles, mostly silent, which is what I prefer. Okay, here you'll see me miss a couple of bites in a row. Who knows if it's from the same fish, but when I do connect, it's with my second legit shoremat. Oh, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. Not the most dramatic fight, and luckily the single tail hook didn't grab any gills, even though she choked the entire thing. That's why I don't go with two sets of trebles. This fish turned out to be a little over 25 inches, but she was a thick fish, about 7 3/4 on the boga. And I'm very glad I had the boga on me because there's a lot of variation. A 25-inch fish could be anywhere between 5.5 and 8 pounds. So the rod I'm using is my old X-Bride 7.2 medium light. It's my main full-size jerkbait rod. It has the perfect tip and midsection for working that 3/8 to 5/8 ounce jerkbaits all day. Now, I normally fish jerkbaits on straight fluorocarbon, but from shore and saltwater, I do prefer braid to leader. The braid, by the way, is YGK Upgrade X8 and PE2. And YGK makes the best braid on the market, period. Nothing else I've tried even comes close, and I've tried a lot of braids. And this fish here just completely faked me out after that big fish. The reel I'm using is the latest Daiwa Zillion SV, a huge improvement over the previous generation Zillion, and by far the best casting SV spool I've used. There you can see I added a tiny sliver of gulp to the tail hook. Didn't really make much difference since it's too small to add much scent, but if you try to go any bigger, then a little speck of gulp, it kills the action of the jerkbait. I did notice this day that when the sun came out, they seemed to bite a little better. So in that sense, they're sort of like smallmouth. With jerkbaits, it's a almost completely visual type of stimuli. So the further light can penetrate, the more fish you're generally going to catch. They're not tracking it down by scent or vibration. It's usually a completely visual thing. Now this setting is much more akin to fishing a jerkbait in freshwater versus in the surf. There is some current but no waves and undertows pushing and pulling the bait vertically. So I tune these to float a little slower than the pointer 78s I use on the open beach. You're basically looking for a slow float rate of around 4 to 6 inches per second. I mentioned this before, but the float is a major triggering mechanism to this bait. You're putting this erratically darting, rolling, flashing plug in front of their face, then slowly taking away on the float. You're forcing that big fluke to make a decision on the spot. So I ended the afternoon with a triple limit. And again, a keeper in my book is a fish over 18 inches. I cannot believe New Jersey went another year with that stupid 1 inch slot. But anyway, a super fun day of fluking, and landing that 7.5 pound fish on a jerkbait is not something I'll forget anytime soon. Okay, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.